Hello, everyone. Welcome to Encouragement by Rose Love.
We have come to
visit my podcast on Anchor, Encouraging Love, brothers and sisters.
Nobody told us that the road would be
welcome,
easy,
welcome, everyone. May God bless you. Now, let's get into the video. God bless, God bless, God bless, God bless.
I don't believe He brought us this far to leave us. Hi everyone, this is Rose. Want to bring a video on patience and faith. Patience and faith. It's hard to have faith without having patience. A lot of time, having faith in God requires that we be patient. Because for a lot of us, when we're asking things for God and we're waiting on God, a lot of us, we are right now people. We want things right now. We don't want to wait. We want that job right now. We want that money right now. We want that big house right now. Whatever it is that we're seeking for, we want it right now. But we have to realize that God sometimes is not a right now God. And when God has us to wait on Him, it requires us to be patient and be still and trust the process and trust and know that He still keeps His promises. Now, in the waiting, when you're waiting for your season, for God to bless you, a lot of times in the waiting, you can go through anguish, you can go through bitterness, you can go through pain, you can go through all type of emotions that is not pleasant when you're in the midst of the waiting. And God understands it. It's okay to go through all those emotions, but no matter what, patience, and we have to remember that patience and faith works together. Now, as for me, that was a big one that I had to learn. That was a big one that I had to learn, that I had to be patient when I'm waiting, when I'm asking something for God and I'm waiting on God to move. And I think I deserve it right now. I had to learn how to be patient and wait on God, because that was one of the hardest things, like I say, for me to do. But I got to a point where I just told myself, I'm going to trust God. I'm going to be patient. This is not what God has for me right now. It is not my timing, but it is God's timing. It's in His timing. God moves in His timing, not mine. And when I got to that point in my life to learn how to be patient in the waiting, oh my God, I found peace. I really found peace. Let me tell you, I found peace in the place where I was in the waiting and the being patient and the being still. Like I say, and there were times that I have gotten to the point where I felt anguish. I felt a little bitter because I was like, Lord, I've been requesting and praying for this thing to be done right now, and nothing's happening. Where are you, God? You know, we all get to that point, and I don't know who I'm talking to, but let me tell you something right now, people, from what I've learned. There is a blessing and bigger blessings in being patient and in the waiting. No matter how it feels, there is a blessing in it. And I want to bring the story to y'all of Hannah. Hannah in the Bible. She prayed year after year, year after year for a child. Her womb was closed and she couldn't have a child. But yet her husband had another wife. Her husband had two wives, her and another wife. And the other wife was bearing children after child after child after child. She was fruitful. Her womb was open, so she was able to bear fruit, have children after children. And Hannah had to sit there as she was praying to God to ask for a child and God to bless her with a child. Hannah had to sit there and watch this wife have child after child, child after child, something she wanted, something she was praying for. And the Bible says in 1 Samuel in chapter 1, I want y'all to go over and read it. I'm not going to read any of the scripture, but I'm going to give you 1 Samuel 1, chapter 1. Let me see. Yeah, chapter 1. Read that whole thing. That tells you about Hannah, how she prayed year after year for a child, and she just could not have a child. Just imagine being in a position where you praying for something and you see everyone around you getting blessed. You see everyone around you getting the very thing that you want. This was Hannah. She was praying for a child, and she was watching her husband's other wife have child after child after child. And not only was the other wife having children after children each year, but this wife was throwing it in Hannah's face. Like, she was throwing it in Hannah's face. I can have children, but you can't. Look at me. Every year I'm bearing, having a child, but you can't. And this made Hannah sad. It made her grieve harder when the wife would throw this up in her face that your womb is closed, Hannah, but mine is open. Look what I am conceiving and what I'm bringing into the marriage. So that made Hannah bitter that the other wife was getting all this stuff. And that's how a lot of times we become. We get like Hannah. We see the other wife getting all those, we see other people getting that house, that car, that job, that position, the things that we want. And here we are sitting there having to wait. We're in our season. I'm going to say it again. Our season has not yet come. We are still waiting on our season. In everything, there is a season. And I'm going to get into that in just a moment. So Hannah was waiting and praying, being patient and waiting. And in the waiting, Hannah felt anguish. She felt bitterness. She felt pain. She felt hurt. But still, she kept going before God, asking for a child, asking God to bless her. And it says in, let me see which chapter. After Hannah prayed, in 1 Samuel 2, she got what she was asking for. She got what she was asking for from God. No, I'm sorry. Let me do a correction. That was 1 Samuel 1 at the very end of 1 Samuel 1. Hannah received what she had been asking for God, a child. She finally conceived after all of that time of being patient, having faith, and praying to God constantly and staying before God. She finally got what she received, a son that she named Samuel. She named him Samuel. And not only did God bless her with him, God blessed her with many, many more children after that. So let me tell you something, people. Just because you're not receiving your blessing now and you're in the waiting and it's not your season, does not mean your blessing is not going to come. But a lot of people, when we're in the process of where God needs and requesting that we be patient and have faith and keep trusting him until our season come, a lot of times our problems is we want to give up, we want to get upset, we want to get frustrated, we want to get mad at God. Hannah did not get mad at her husband because she couldn't conceive. She didn't get mad at the other wife, even though the other wife was stunning her and picking at her because she couldn't conceive. Hannah did feel anguish and she did feel pain. But no matter how she was feeling the anguish or pain of wanting that baby and wanting that child, she still was patient and she still prayed faithfully every year. She still came before God coming before God with her request and having faith and waiting patiently, and she received her blessing. And that's how we are right now. We have to realize everything is not going to come to us. God did not create the world in one day. It took him 6 days to create the world, and he rested on the 7th day. Now, a lot of people can say, well, if he's God, why come he just can snap his fingers and it be done? Because it took time for God to perfect everything and get it just the way he wanted. And it took 6 days, and he rested on the 7th day. So we have to realize that even if it took God 6 days just to create the world, and he had to rest on the 7th day, it's going to take things in our lives to manifest and come into our lives too. We even have to wait. Everything is not going to happen right now. It's just like also if you start a business. And it's not going to just, you're going to snap your fingers and instantly that business is going to be a success. No. You're going to have to put work. You're going to have to put the work into it and be patient. Put the work into it and be patient. Put the work into it and be patient. Just like in our lives, when we requesting things for God, we got to put the work in, the prayer. Put the faith, activate our faith and be patient. And know that in time, what we're requesting, it is going to come to us because God keeps his promises. I am a living testimony that God keeps his promises. And like I said, I know how it feels to be impatient in the waiting because I've been there. But I've learned that I've learned how to be patient. I thank God for that. When things come up in my life, I have learned just how to just be still and be like, and trust God. And I instantly tell myself, that is what God don't have for me right now. But he ain't said no. It's just not my season. And I have to keep my faith, and keep activating my faith and be patient until my season comes. And man, each time I do that, I'm going to promise you, I'm not even going to lie. Each time I do that and be patient and wait on my blessings the way I'm supposed to, God always give me double. He always give me double. I get double what I'm asking for. So I am a living testimony of knowing how to be patient and wait on God and be patient and wait my season and wait my turn and keep my faith. Let me tell you, it's a blessing in it, y'all. It's peace and blessings in it. But when we get so like with Hagar, when we feel anguish and bitterness and feel so upset in the process of waiting, all it does is hurts us and upsets us. But we got to know that God still got us and keep our faith and be patient and wait on God. I don't know who needs to hear this today, but I know this message is for someone. And the reason why I'm bringing this video, and I'm going to bring this video to an end, is because I have been praying for something since July of this year. And y'all already know, I just told you, I know how to be patient and I know how to wait on God. And I was praying and praying and praying, and I did all the paperwork, sent my paperwork in, and I was still waiting for an answer. And I said, well, then I called in. And when I called in, they told me, they said, well, the paperwork's been put into the system. Call back Monday and check next week. Everything might have done went through. And mind you, this was like 3 weeks later. So I'm like, okay, I'll wait till Monday to get here. But I didn't wait. I didn't call that Monday. I waited a whole another week until the next week. I didn't hear nothing. Then I called them back. They say, well, it's in the system. The paperwork, everything's been put into the system. There just been some numbers scrambled up in the system that we got to correct, and we're going to correct it. Okay, that's what they said that week. They said, baby, by Monday, it'll go through again. I waited a whole another week again. I didn't call that Monday. I waited a whole another week again. I didn't hear. So the third time, and mind you, this was in July of this year. So I called and called. And so I did my last call, and I said, well, I've called about 3 times or 2 times checking on my paperwork to see did it go through. And they told me, well, the guy, I'm going to put it back in the system, ma'am. I don't know what happened, why I booted it out or whatever. So he put it back in the system. Instantly, I just started praying. I said, well, Lord, let it go through this time. You got to let it work and all this. And then when I called back, I didn't call back. I said, well, I'm going to wait another week. When I went to my mailbox to check my mailbox, mind you, I got double what I was asking for. I didn't see that coming. So After all the patience I went through of waiting for the paperwork to go through, so this paperwork could go through so I can receive what I'm waiting on and what I'm looking for. When I went to my mailbox and checked my mailbox, mind you, and this was just the Monday before I called, and I waited a whole nother week. I said, well, I'm not gonna call. I'm gonna wait a whole nother week again. I didn't even get a chance to make that third call before, after waiting from July all the way up to now September of this week, last week. There it was in my mailbox. And God blessed me with double what I thought I was going to get. So I said to myself, I got to share this with others and just give you the story. I'm not going to tell y'all what I was waiting on, but let's just say there was something I was needing and I needed to get done. And I waited patiently. And I have learned to be patient and have faith, and be patient and have faith, and not rush the process. There's a blessing in the waiting, y'all. I'm going to tell you, believe me, there is a blessing in the waiting. Trusting God, praying, keeping your faith. Yes, it feels aggravating. Yes, you're going to feel the pain. Even though I've learned to be patient and trust God in the things that's going on in my life. That's something I learned. It doesn't mean that you're at the same place I'm at. I once was there. I felt the anguish like Hannah. I felt the pain like Hannah. I've cried many days wanting things to go through. And God was telling me, be patient and be still and trust Him. Been there, done that. But I've learned that all that does is frustrates me and have me more upset in the process of being patient and waiting. So whichever way it go for you, whether you feeling anguish, whether you feeling pain, or you feel like it's never going to get done, like Hagar was, like Hannah, I'm sorry, y'all, like Hannah was, know that God still answered Hannah, and she still got her blessing, even in the anguish, even though she was feeling pain and frustrated. God still eventually answered the prayers. So God still hears us. He understands we're gonna go through a period where we're like Hannah, we're gonna get frustrated, we're gonna feel the bitterness. And He understands some of us gonna grow, and we're gonna realize, like I've gotten to, just be patient and trust the process. So whichever way it is, I just want to tell you all, whatever you're feeling right now, what you're going through, and whatever you're waiting on, be patient. Know that it's just not your season, and be patient in the waiting, and keep your faith, because patience and faith work together. Patience and faith work together. You can't have faith, real faith, without being patient. You got to be patient when you have faith, because God is not a right now God all the time. Not a right now God all the time. He moves in His own timing. And sometimes it's just not going to be your season. Now, this video turned out to be a little longer than what I wanted to be. Now, I think I said in this video, Hagar. I called Hannah Hagar, so y'all overlooked that. I meant Hannah, but you get the point. Brothers and sisters, love you. God bless you, and have a wonderful one. And God bless.